What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Watchtower podcast, the non-Jehovah's Witnesses Watchtower podcast. This is episode 250. My word, can you believe that we've done 250 of these? I cannot believe that. Yeah, episode 250, if we're still here. And we are. But yeah, there's some interesting stuff that we're going to be going on tonight, but the title actually has something to do with an announcement that I'm going to be making in just a minute. I'm going to tease you a little bit longer because why not? I'm just as excited as anybody can be, honestly, on this. I'm excited, but yeah, it has something to do with an announcement, and I've kind of been teasing it. And I said I don't know when, I'm trying, and so I'll let you guys know tonight. But yeah, if this is your first time here, this is what we do on Tuesdays and Saturdays. We get together and we watch for the signs of the return of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We do not know when he's coming. We have absolutely no idea, and the Bible confirms that and says that nobody knows. And but we will know the season of his return, and so we watch for the signs of these things. You know, the construction of the Antichrist beast system that we're seeing in front of our faces right now, as well as stepping stones and foreshadowing to prophetic events that are going to happen post-rapture and into the day of the Lord and these types of things. So we just keep track. We're called to be watchmen. We're called to watch for these things and to warn people, and so that's what we do. And yeah, that's what we do here. So if this is your first time here, welcome in, and it's good to have you here. Hopefully you stick around, and you'll notice that this is pretty much a troublemaker place to be. Honestly, we're like the island of misfit toys when it comes to the remnant prophecy community. That's pretty much what it is. We're like the island of misfit toys over here. But welcome in. Thank you for being here. Yeah. So I've had quite a few emails and comments and stuff from people asking about different nominations that Trump is making for his administration. I did the video at the very beginning of all this when he chose Susie Wiles for chief of staff. And so rather than just go individually and answer everything, I just decided, okay, I'll do a thing about it. So we're going to go over different ones. I'm not going to go through every single one. First of all, I don't have enough time to do that. Second of all, I think we'll get the picture with the people that I did pick to look at. And there's some interesting things, to say the least. Along with that, we're going to be taking a look at really the spiritual aspect to this, like what's going on ultimately with all this stuff, because there's a direction with this that I'm sure some people have noticed, but maybe many haven't. And so we're going to take a look at that, and we'll kind of look at the spiritual aspect, the non-Christian spiritual aspect, honestly. And then we get an update of what's coming out of Peter Thiel's Palantir and all that type of stuff. So we'll take a look at that stuff as we go. So let's see what y'all are up to. Let's see here. I gotta pay attention to what I'm doing here. Okay, here we go. Let's see how y'all are doing. Let's just, yeah, I don't know. We'll go right here. Stephanie Pollock, good to see you, Stephanie. Thank you for being here, and hopefully you had a good week, and thank you for choosing to spend your Saturday night here. So hopefully you're doing all right. Thanks for being here, Stephanie. There we go. I can speak, I promise. Asset, what's going on, brother? Thanks for being here. Please be nice to my tools. They do their best to keep all you rambunctious hooligans under control. Bunch of crazies up in here. But good to see you, Asset, and hopefully you had a good week, man. We got Kathy B. Good to see you, Kathy B. And hopefully you're doing all right. And everything is going all right for you. We got Gerard with the devious smile. He's always planning something. Be on the lookout for him, I'm telling you. Not over this world. Yeah, you're over on Rumble with that comment, but good to see you. Please be nice to my tools again. Appreciate it. Kelly Schultz, and that the dog picture. It's Jasper, right? I think I read that it was Jasper, but the dog picture every time, man. Oh, it was great. Good to see you, Kelly. Hopefully you and the fur ball there are doing all right. Sarah Montanari, good to see you. Moon pie. Ooh, moon pie. I could go for a moon pie right now. Give me one of those delicious banana moon pies. But good to see you, Sarah. Thanks for being here and spending your Saturday night here. Kylie Doodle. Good to see you, Kylie. Thanks for being here. And hopefully you had a good week. And glad you are here. And everything's going all right. We got Jules 62, not 61, not 63, but 62. That's where Jules settled. So good to see you. And thank you for being here. And hopefully you're doing all right. Caterlyn is here as well. She's got the cookies. If you guys need some virtual snacks, go see Caterlyn in the back. She's got the sweets for everybody. They are free, and I believe that they are calorie-free as well. So good to see you. We got Joseph Pena Jalapena. So good to see you, Joseph, and glad you're here, man. And hopefully you're doing all right. Let's see. We got Stephanie as well. Good to see Stephanie. We got all the Stephanies up in the chat. So there's the peanut gallery, Stephanie, though. And she's always, she want to talk about planning something. She's always got something she's planning. I'm telling you. Mark Collins, what's going on, Mark? And thanks for being here, man. Hopefully you're doing all right. And you had a good week. Chesty Gloin, good to see you. And talking about Winnie the Pooh and watercoloring. Wow, you got a lot going on over there. Hopefully you're doing all right, Jesse. Thanks for being here. Let's see. We got Jessica. I don't know why I said it like that. Jessica McCord. Good to see you, Jessica. Thanks for being here. We got Maya, and I know she's got her ducks all lined up and everything. So just picture that. Just you got Maya sitting there with a whole bunch of ducks just sitting around. Good to see you, Maya. We got Rick Whitaker. What's going on, Rick? Good to see you. Shetties is here as well. Going a big oops over there with Shetties. We got JoJo by his grace. So good to see you, JoJo. Thanks for being here. Who else we got? We got Jill Newman. Good to see you, Jill. And thanks for spending your Saturday night here. Let's see. That Titus to life. Can't wait. They said this election gave us time. I was like, no, I want out of here. No, I think things are going to speed up, just not in the way that people are necessarily thinking. There's not going to be a time of slowdown, that's for sure. Free daily bread. Ooh, I like bread. Bread is good. This body was built by bread, just bread and cheese. Good to see Ebsy is here from across the pond. Good to see you, Ebsy. And hopefully you're doing all right. Hopefully you got the princess and she's doing all right as well. Let's see. We got Mr. Snow Wolf as well. Patrick Starr's here. Who do we got? We got Jackie Gleason. Jackie Gleason, good to see a Pittsburgh Penguins fan. Absolutely. Although they're not doing too hot this year. We got Elena Victory. So good to see you. Let's see. Who else? Anybody non-typical? I'm seeing some new names in here. That's good. I always like to see that. We got in his image, Katie. Always good to see Katie. Hopefully you're doing all right. We got Amanda Stumpf. Good to see you. We love your kind of trouble. Well, I want to get in more trouble tonight, that's for sure. But good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. If I didn't pick you out, it's not that I don't like you. It's just we got a bunch of stuff to get to, and I want to make sure that I get to everything tonight. So let's go ahead and get to some housekeeping.
Housekeeping?
No, thank you. Sleeping.
Housekeeping?
All right, so for housekeeping, usual spiel. If you guys can, like, share, subscribe. Get this out to as many people as you can. Excuse me. It's not about views, not about butts and seats, but it is about getting the warning out to people and getting people to Jesus. And right now, again, with how everything is going right now, I believe that there is another deception going on where things are going to lighten up, and we got another 4 years and all that type of stuff. I just want to sit here and tell you, we need to make sure that we keep that fire. I had Toby on Tuesday, and that was something that we were stressing big time, is to make sure you keep the fire and get out and do what we need to do, because time is short. And liking, sharing, and subscribing does help these videos and these live streams and stuff reach people who are lost, have questions, and ultimately need the salvation that only Jesus can give. So if you guys can do me a solid and like, share, subscribe, it does help reach those people. Also follow me, Rumble, Odyssey, Telegram. Those are my backup channels. Of course, we're multi-streaming, simulcasting the YouTube, Rumble, and the website. But if I get booted off YouTube, we'll be back up live streaming over on Rumble. So make sure you guys follow me there. Odyssey's an emergency platform there, just in case things go super south, breaking case of emergency type of deal. So if you have an account, you might as well follow me there. There's nothing exclusive. You're not missing anything. I don't do any of that junk. It's just an emergency platform. And then Telegram, I post updates, announcements, news, things, and anything in between. I post just random things, little updates, announcements, and stuff like that. Things that I can't necessarily put in video format, I throw up on Telegram. So make sure you guys follow me over there. Of course, we got the official WretchedWatchmen.com website. That's your one-stop shop for all the things that are going on, announcements, news. If I'm not live streaming and I didn't announce anything, I will make sure that I update the website. That's your place for everybody if you want to know what's going on. So make sure you guys bookmark that page. Excuse me. Coming up on Tuesday, I got another guest. This dude's going to be joining us from down under. Down under. Shrimp on the bobby. That's not a knife. Yes, it'll be John Prescott. He'll be joining me on Tuesday. It's going to be a good conversation. This is one of those things that I think it would be good for everybody to listen to, because if you guys don't know John, you guys, if you're watching me, I'm pretty sure you guys know where I stand on the whole political side of things and where Trump is. And I believe that he's wittingly and knowingly a part of what's going on. But John Prescott, he's aware of all the evidence. He says he doesn't deny the evidence, but he believes that Trump is not a part of this stuff. And so this is a great conversation because we have two guys that have different ideas when it comes to the political spectrum of what's going on, but we still believe in the same ending, and we don't let it be a wedge between us. If anybody knows what's going on with me, I've pretty much all but been excommunicated from the prophecy community because of my stance against Trump. And John is one of the very, very, very few that has not done that because why? We're adults. And so we got together and we had a conversation about what's going on. So I think it's great. And I think it'd be good for everybody to join in for that one. So make sure you guys join us on Tuesday. And then last but not least, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, I'll be answering questions as we go along tonight. So make sure you guys put question in all caps in the chat. And then I'm going to go through all of the people first, and then I'll get to your questions after that. But yeah, I'll be answering some questions tonight. So make sure you put questions in all caps, followed by your questions, so my moderators can see it and they'll pass it to me. And then last but not least, if you guys would like to support this channel and what I do, I've got donation links down below. CashApp, Venmo, and Give, Send, Go. This channel's not monetized. I don't make anything from ads or views or anything like that. It runs solely off of your guys' donations. So if you guys would like to help me keep this going and do what I do, those links are below. Thank you guys for your support and your donations and your prayers and your encouragement. You guys are absolutely awesome. I'm so blessed to be able to do this. And I thank the Lord for you guys and for allowing me to do this. So thank you guys for that as well. So, okay. That is what we got for housekeeping. I've said it 250 times and I still sometimes forget it. My mind is nuts. Okay, let's go ahead and because why not? I think we're good. Yeah, let's just go ahead and announce what's going on. So, okay, I've been teasing you guys for a while that I've had an announcement going on, and this was just one of those out of the blue, spur of the moment type of things that I literally woke up one day and the Lord put it in my brain. He just kind of took this idea and he just put it into my head, and I woke up with it in my head, and it was nagging me all day. I just couldn't get rid of it. I kept thinking about it, and it was just one of those things where I just said, okay, Lord, if this is what you want me to do, then I will start working on it, and you will open the doors if this is what you want me to do. And one of the things that has been going along with this, and I've said it a few times recently, is the word outreach. The word outreach has been something that has really been on my mind as well. I believe that we've gotten to the point where we have found our little spots, and we're sticking in those little spots. We've gotten in a groove with who we know and what we're doing and the usual, and we're just kind of rolling with it. And I think, and I'm not, accusing anybody. This is something that I've been seeing. And so I think we need to get to the point, again, with time being so short, we need to outreach to people. We need to get to as many people as we can with what's going on. And something that I have noticed recently is there has been some conferences and conventions and meetings that are becoming too expensive, too difficult, too limited to fulfill the outreach commandment that I believe the Lord has given to us. And so with that, the Lord placed it upon my heart to go ahead and start working on this. I have gotten together with JB Hickson and Toby Stevens, and we are throwing a If We're Still Here Bible Prophecy Shindig, which will be free online for everybody to attend. This will be March 15th, 2025. And as you can see, these are the speakers that we've got lined up so far. We've got JB Hickson from Not By Works Ministries. And yes, we have got JD Farag from Calvary Kanahoe. If anybody knows anything about what's going on with JD, he has also been pretty much excommunicated by the prophecy community, and he hasn't done conferences or speaking anything like that in years. I reached out to him, we had a conversation, and he has agreed to speak at this event. We got David Bowen from Interpreting the Times and Lamb and Lion Ministries. He'll be coming on. This dude is awesome. I haven't had much communication with him, but I've seen the stuff that he has done, and he's very much kind of on my on the page that I am when it comes to going back to Babylon and the pagan trinity and how it's the mystery religion moving throughout things. So we got David Bowen on board. John Prescott has agreed to join us, so he will also be here. Toby Stevens, of course, Arpazzo Clothing, and I will be there as well. Again, this thing is going to be entirely free. Absolutely no cost. It's going to be done entirely online. It's going to stay up online forever until they decide to take everything down. I will cut up into segments, so there will be shareable segments for each person's presentation afterwards. No cost, no time limit, no nagging you to buy things or anything like that. This is something that I want people to go out there and outreach with. I want people to invite a whole bunch of people over for barbecue and have it playing on the TV. I want churches to have an event where they're just live streaming it on their church presentation thing for people to come and watch it. I want people to invite non-Christians and unbelievers, or those who are right there on the edge, who can't afford to go to prophecy conferences or travel, or they're not sure if it's worth doing all that stuff, to just invite them over and have some fun and listen to what's going on. I want people to share this out to people who need to know what is going on. This is going to be a very unique conference. We're not going to be going over all the same old stuff. We're not going to be going over, the usual stuff that you've heard a million times. Of course, we'll cover the basics, but for the most part, we're going to try and speak about things that don't normally get spoken about. For sure. And so this is going to be a big thing that I want people to go out there and outreach people. So yes, March 15th, 2025. That is a Saturday. It's free. It's online. I'm still working on getting some more speakers. So I will keep you guys updated after this podcast ends. I will update the website. I've already got the page ready to go. I just got to push the button for the event page, so you can go to that, find out all the information. I will be updating that as things come in and as things go along. So again, yes, this is something I'm really excited about. I'm really excited about. So hopefully you guys are up for that. And if we're still here, it'll be going on. So yeah, that's what's going on, guys. That's what's going on. So yeah, good stuff. So yeah. All righty. All right. So let's go ahead and get rolling into some of this. And we got ourselves the weekly Wretched Weather Reports. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Everybody got their fancy hats? Let's go!
All right, so the Wretched Weather Report. We do this. I'm not a weatherman. I'm not a geologist or any of that type of stuff, but I think it's worth keeping tabs on what's going on when it comes to natural events. As we know, natural events, they are listed as part of the birth pangs, and they're going to increase in size and frequency as we get closer to the day of the Lord and all these types of things, going into the day of the Lord as well. And so we just keep track of what's going on, earthquakes and volcanoes and storms and all that type of stuff. And we got a few things that's going on for sure. But as far as earthquakes, this past week, keeping track of the 5.5 magnitude and up, we got a 5.9 in Bartolomé, Cuba. That is not even close. There's going to be a Cuban going, "Ay, papi, that is not how you say that." But I can't speak Cuban. Then there's a 6.8 also in Bartolomé, Cuba. That was the big one of the week. Then there's a 5.6 in Maug Islands, Northern Mariana Islands. And then there's a 6.6 in Kokopo, Papua New Guinea. And then a 5.5 in the Balleny Islands, which is south of Australia and New Zealand. So that's what we got as far as earthquakes. Not a whole lot going on. A couple big ones, though. As far as volcanoes, we got 46 volcanoes actively erupting, which is down 2 from last week. So we're dead center of the usual 44 to 48 range that we normally sit in. We got 6 in North America, 6 in South America, which is down 1 from last week. 2 in Europe, 3 in Antarctica, 4 in Africa, 17 in Asia, and 8 in Oceania, which is down 1 from last week as well. So -1 plus -1 equals -2. So that means we're down 2. And there's your math lesson for this week as well. So a couple things as far as storms and whatnot. I posted this on my Telegram last night. I saw that was going on. There's the super typhoon Pepito, which hit the Philippines. Sustained winds about 160 miles an hour. They got flood warnings coming in on some regions of the Philippines. They got hit hard. There's a lot of wind and a lot of damage going on. And from my understanding, is this typhoon is supposed to head over to Vietnam in about 4 days. So be praying for those in the Philippines for what they're dealing with. Also be praying for those in Vietnam for the follow-up that's going to be that they're planning, they're forecasting to hit them as well. So be praying for all those. As we know, the Lord can and has used tragedy and events like this in order to be glorified and for people to come to salvation through him. So as I always say, in these times of tragedy and trauma and whatnot, be praying that those souls find Jesus and accept Jesus for sure. And then another update on what's going on with Spain. I don't know if anybody's still following Spain. I did a thing on them last Saturday. They got massive flooding that's going on in there. Spain is still dealing with the flooding. And I came across something that's kind of interesting that came out from the end of August of this year, which should be no surprise to anybody who follows what's going on when it comes to weather manipulation. And we got Morocco's cloud seeding plans raise concerns in, look at that, Spain. This is coming from August 25th of this year. It says Morocco's Al-Gaith cloud seeding program, internationally recognized since 1984 inception, faces renewed scrutiny as Spanish report raises concerns over its potential regional impact. Wow. Shocking, right? Shocking. It says days after French media outlet Vert Eco criticized Morocco's reliance on desalination to combat severe drought, Spanish report has now raised concerns from the North African country's plans to increase rainfall through artificial cloud seeding. According to the report from the Spanish weather agency El Tiempo, Morocco has allocated nearly 10 million Morocco money things. Sorry, I don't know. Since 2023 to boost its cloud seeding program, aiming to generate artificial rain and alleviate the structural drought affecting the country. The goal is to increase precipitation in specific areas by up to 15% through a total of 20 cloud seeding projects. However, the report highlights that altering weather patterns artificially could have unpredictable consequences for the entire region, especially in nearby areas like southern Spain and the Spanish enclaves of Ceuta, Melilla. I think it's Melilla. Spain has just been getting slammed with rain and flood. Exactly as this thing was reporting. If Morocco goes and does this, there's a big chance that Spain is going to deal with the consequences. It sure seems to be going in that direction. Abundant rainfall in places unaccustomed to such conditions could lead to flooding, soil erosion, and deterioration. Furthermore, cloud seeding might disrupt the atmosphere's relative humidity, potentially causing drought in unexpected locations or intense downpours. The report warns that geoengineering could increase the frequency of extreme weather events like storms, lightning, hailstorms, and tornadoes. You think? The Spanish media also raises the possibility of geopolitical conflicts arising between affected states such as Spain and Morocco due to the one country's decision to alter environmental conditions. Despite these concerns, cloud seeding is not a novel practice in Morocco. The country has been investigating methods to augment water supplies through climate modification, also known as climate geoengineering, since the 1980s. But it's just a conspiracy theory. Y'all are a bunch of conspiracy theorists. Your guys are nuts. They're not doing this at all. No. Now I'm going to go ahead and go get my 23rd booster shot because I get a free donut. Woohoo. I can't believe people still do not believe that this stuff is going on when they are telling us that's going on. And Spain warned and said, if you do this, Morocco, we could have consequences. And it seems to be that they are exactly having consequences. It's just... So continue to pray for Spain. I don't have any videos or anything to show you guys, but it ain't good. It's not good. Spain is not looking good at all. They're underwater. It's bad. So please pray for Spain as well. Philippines, Vietnam, Spain. Be praying for them if you guys can, for sure. So, okay. That's what we got with the Wretched Weather Report. Good stuff. All right. I'll answer a couple questions real quick, and then we'll get into this. I want to make sure that I get through this for sure. So we'll go through a couple of these. Question, I don't see a name on this, so I'm not sure who asked it, but it says, did you follow that congressional hearing on like the UAP, USOs, like the UFO stuff? I did not. I know about it. I've had some stuff saved on it. I haven't watched anything about it. So I don't have any wise words of wisdom to give you on that. I apologize. Let's see here. Cowabunga question. Do you know all but one president are related? I've heard that. I haven't looked into it, so I would have to look into it first before I can say anything about that, Cowabunga. So I'd need to look at it. I'm pretty strict on making sure that I look at things myself first. Yeah. Patricia Schultz. Zach, does that include JB Hickson? I thought he was on. Oh, I think you're talking about. No. Me and JB Hickson are good. We're all good. Like I said, there's not many left that I haven't been released from. I guess you could say. No, JB Hickson and I are good. We are good. We're gooda, man. We're gooda. So, let's see here. Catherine Cole question. Do you think that the Democrats will try something to keep Trump from being inaugurated? Honestly, no, I don't think so. But I could be wrong. I'm not a prophet. There are no more prophets. We're not in that time. Nobody knows what's going to happen but God. But in my opinion, after what I've seen and what I believe, I don't believe that anything would happen to stop Trump from getting inaugurated. So, but we got to wait and see. Stephanie Pollock question. Why is the mark of the beast only in the right hand and forehead and not the left hand? Just curious. Because the Bible says so. And I'm not trying to be snarky or anything. Honestly, because the Bible says so. Why? I don't know. But that's what the Lord saith, and that's what will cometh. Honestly. So I'm just going to go with the basic Sunday school answer of because the Bible says so. I really don't have anything else that I can like give you for that. I apologize. Bunny Casey, what prophecy ministries have excommunicated you? I'm not going to delve into any of that. I'm just not connected to pretty much anybody anymore, except like JB Hickson and I are still good and stuff like that. So, Patricia Schultz on whether geoengineering, a good one I follow. A good one I follow on YouTube. Okay, there we go. Sorry. A good one I follow on YouTube for updates. Real Fishing Life. I don't know who that is. Have you heard of him? No, I haven't. His family had a 100-year fishing business destroyed by weather. No, I don't know who Real Fishing Life is, Patricia. I'm sorry. Yeah. That sucks that his fishing business was destroyed by that. Yeah, I mean, it just goes. People don't realize. Go back to Lyndon B. Johnson, man. He said, "Those who control the weather control the people." He literally said that. I showed videos of it. So this whole idea that it's not possible is just a joke. Free daily bread question. Do you think Trump could be one of the 10 toes kings? No, I do not believe that he will be one of the 10 kings. I don't believe he's the Antichrist. I don't believe he's one of the 10 kings. I believe that he's just being used right now to get things in line for those people to come to fruition. That's what I believe. But again, I'm not a prophet. I'm not a prophet. I see your question. I am his beloved. I'm not going to address that, but I see it. Lil Abner, have you ever heard about Whitney Webb and what's your take on her? I've heard about her. I've seen some of her stuff. I don't actively follow her or anything. I mean, I've vetted some of the stuff that she's put out because I've had some people send me some stuff from her, and I vetted some of the stuff she put out, and the stuff that I've researched is in line with the stuff that she has said. So I haven't necessarily seen anything bad on that. She's like fully against the whole Israel Gaza thing over there, which I might as well just bring this up because I know there's a lot of people that think just because somebody has something negative or criticizes Israel's government or military in any type of way, they're automatically deemed as anti-Semitic. No, that's not how it goes. You got to look deeper than just if they say, well, if you look at this is what's going on, so this is something bad. Now, there's definitely people out there that are completely anti-Semitic. You look at the morons like Stu Peters and Mike Adams and all these type of guys. Those are clearly anti-Semitic. Alex Jones, clearly anti-Semitic. Just because somebody comes across facts and evidence that puts Israel in a negative light does not mean they're anti-Semitic. So keep that in mind. But there are many out there who are anti-Zionist. Now, again, I don't follow Whitney. I've seen some stuff where she's calling out Israel's government and military tactics in Gaza, but I don't know if she's anti-Semitic. So I'll just go ahead and throw that out there as well. If we can't receive factual information against Israel without being called anti-Semitic, then we're not doing truth right. And this is coming from somebody who is Christian Zionist, who is in support of Israel and is in support of God's land and God's people. But I'm telling you that I have also done my own presentation of things that paint Israel in a bad light. And the Bible tells us it's going to be like that. You look at, again, Ezekiel 36. Is it 36? I think it's 36. Ezekiel 36. You look at, I think it's Romans 11. I'm terrible at where they're at. Isaiah 26, I think. You look at these and Israel is dry bones, spiritually dead. They're ruled by wicked leaders. They're blind of what's going on. So just keep that in mind as we do this. Maria Martinez question, can you comment on Trump saying we're in the golden age? We're going to get to that tonight. So, okay, I see your questions. I'll get to the rest of them later. I want to go ahead and start rolling on this. I'm glad you asked that question. So hang in. We'll get to that a little bit later. So again, I've been asked a lot about what's going on with Trump's picks, his nominations for his administration and whatnot. So I figured I'd just go ahead and answer them in one go. I'm not going to cover every single one. Obviously, things are deemed to change because these people can get rejected and whatnot as we go forward. So again, this isn't just a finalized type of thing, but this is information that I found on the picks that he has so far. What I do find interesting, and I'll go ahead and throw this out at the very beginning, is I've heard some rumors that Trump may want to enact, I think it's Article 2, Article 3, Article 2, one of those, Section 3. I think it's Article 2, Section 3, I think. Don't quote me on that. Be a Berean, go look it up yourself, about causing a recess for the representatives, which if he does that, then he can get all of his nominations in unopposed, which is interesting. And he's got two people, Thune and Mike Johnson, who would back him up on that and recess the houses in order to do such a thing. So keep an eye on that. That's a pretty sneaky and tricky way of getting things done. It's in the Constitution, but doesn't mean it's not a little snaky. Just saying. But that's something to keep in mind and watch for as we go forward. So let's go ahead and get on this. I did a video on her already, but I do want to go over a few things that I didn't go over with her, or in case you missed the video, to be caught up with. The first pick that he pretty much had was Susie Wiles to be the chief of staff. Now, this chick is not good, to say the least. No bueno. Of course, people are praising it as, oh, she did wonderful things because of his campaign to win by such a large landslide to do this. And, oh, look, it's a woman, the first one to take the post. So he's not, misogynist or any type of thing. So those are getting pushed in that type of direction. But let's just go ahead and dive into who Wiles is and where she comes from. So Susie Wiles was, not anymore because of her nomination here. Susie Wiles is co-chair of Mercury, Florida, and Washington, D.C. offices. And we can kind of jump down through this. It says she's been a political strategist for more than 25 years, political strategy, government relations, public affairs, lead advisor for multiple presidential, gubernatorial, and state campaigns. She managed Rick Scott's and Ron DeSantis's campaigns for governor of Florida. She served as the Florida strategist for the 2016 and 2020 campaigns of President Donald Trump, as well as this most recent one, 2024. And so she's involved with that. She resides as the chair of Save America PAC, which, if anybody knows anything about that, that's surrounded by Democrats. So that's kind of an interesting thing on that when I looked at it. But Mercury, who do they represent? They're like a lobbyist group, to say the least. They represent things like Gavi, which is, of course, Bill and Melinda Gates, drug peddling program. Kaiser Permanente, who's all jacked up in the whole, twisting medical health for their fun. That type of stuff, represents United Nations Foundation, the Ford Foundation. There's Pfizer, brought to you by Pfizer, of course. Gilead, which, of course, is another one of those biopharmaceutical companies. And I find it fascinating that they represent Tesla as well. Of course, we know the connection of Elon Musk to Trump as well. So she co-chaired Mercury, who represents all those companies. And Mercury is actually owned by another conglomerate group called the Omnicom Group, which is indeed a partner with the World Economic Forum. So globalists surrounded by globalists, who's all involved with the campaigns, who is now currently being nominated for chief of staff for Trump's campaign. But if we keep moving forward, I found some other stuff as I was digging through this, which I find interesting, that really surrounds Trump with Big Pharma. And anybody who says Trump is anti-Big Pharma has absolutely has no idea what's going on, or they just don't care and they're just going to ignore vax, which I've run into that, I don't know, way too many times. But yeah, Sturgis Big Pharma courting Trump. Yes. And of course, remember, he still to this day calls himself the father of the vax. So keep that in mind. So given the increasingly vocal opposition to the COOF vax program, including among his base, why does Trump continue to demand a claim for his role in pushing the thingies? We find the answer is Susie Wiles, who appears to be the connective tissue between Trump and Big Pharma. On April 26, Politico published a lengthy profile identifying Wiles as the most feared and least known political operative in America. Anybody heard of her before this? Don't think so. I didn't either. Currently serving as Trump's most important advisor, his de facto campaign manager, and in essence, his chief of staff for the last more than 3 years. That's worded kind of weird. Says Wiles is also a seasoned lobbyist. Her LinkedIn profile summarizes her leadership roles at multiple corporate and political lobbying firms since the mid-1980s, allowing her to sway Trump's psyche with her conflicts of interest. Wiles became co-chair of lobbying firm Mercury Public Affairs in February of 2022. We just talked about that. As highlighted by Holistic News, Mercury's clientele includes Pfizer, Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, which spearheaded vax funding and distribution efforts during the COOF crisis. A role also played by the United Nations Foundation, another Mercury client, and Gilead Sciences, developer of the equally rushed COOF therapeutic remdesivir. I can never pronounce that, but you guys know what that is. Mercury's president, John Gallagher, is a strategic advisor for Trishman Realty. The company's chairman, Dan Trishman, is honorary chair emeritus of the Natural Resources Defense Council, which I noted earlier this month, went on the attack against Kennedy. General counsel, these are all people at Mercury, by the way. John Gallagher, Dan Tishman, as well as Max Sandlin here, described as a top Democratic strategist, served as a high-level deputy to former House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, whose Big Pharma funded Ameripac recently launched a campaign calling for Kennedy to drop out of the 2024 race, as reported by the Kennedy Beacon. So we've got a whole bunch of people that sit on the board of Mercury, including Trump's chief of staff and lobbyist who's been with him for a long time, since 2016 at least, who are all pro big pharma, anti, freedom of health and all that type of stuff. And she's stepping into the role with Donald Trump, who of course still to this day calls him the father of the vax. He was a part of Crimson Contagion, which was the precursor to Event 201, which of course turned into what it is now. But if we keep going, says Mercury's senior team is further peppered with pharmaceutical lobbyists and executives. Adina Mincher, director of governmental compliance, worked in sales and marketing for GlaxoSmithKline. Where have we heard that before? I brought them up during the Trump card video. We'll get to that in just a second. Tony Moffitt, a Mercury partner, was the top government affairs executive at the Monsanto company. Wow, man. This is a wonderful place that Susie Wiles is coming from. Managing director Tammy Gordon was director of digital experience for Novavax, promoting its COOF product in 40 countries before running digital communications for Biden's 2020 campaign in Florida. Drain the swamp, baby. But getting back to GlaxoSmithKline, you guys remember, I talked about this in the Trump card video. So if you guys want to go check that out again, or if you haven't seen it yet, this is Trump's head of Operation Warp Speed was Dr. Moncef Slaoui. Well, Dr. Moncef Slaoui was the GlaxoSmithKline Senior Vice President of World Business Development and External Alliances, as well as the head of R&D research over there. And not to mention, GlaxoSmithKline is also tied heavily to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation as well. Meet the new boss. Same as the old one, right? Let's keep going, shall we? This boon for the pharma biotech industry was only possible because of the unprecedented testing campaign. Yet another pandemic money grab for clients of Wiles' firms prior to joining Mercury. Wiles worked at Ballard Partners, a lucrative, well-connected firm whose client list included multiple manufacturers of the COOF tests. This included Nanobiosm and military-funded genetic diagnostics company, as reported by Nanotechnology Now. Robert Langer, co-founder of Moderna, sits on Nanobiosim's advisory board. Nanobiosim has received substantial backing from Unreasonable Group, a public-private incubator partnered with the State Department and Johnson & Johnson, subsidized by, of course, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Given these immense financial interests, it's not hard to ascertain which forces drive the Wiles MO. The majority of Americans have already decided that they want somebody new in the White House, reports the Associated Press. However, Political notes the event greater power Wiles might have if Trump wins later this year, offering a glimpse into the aggressively pro-big pharma platform circulating the second Trump presidency. And if you guys don't remember, I did this during the Trump card as well. Gavi is partnered, of course, all with the UNICEF, World Health Organization, World Bank, civil society organizations, vaccine manufacturers, research agencies. And we know Trump, along with his U.S. aid during his campaign, gave $1.16 billion to Gavi in order to distribute the shots as well. So this idea that Trump has dropped the big pharma perspective is false. He's surrounding himself with one of the biggest incubators of bringing those people in for this as well. And he continues to this day to call himself the father of the vax and one of the greatest cures available out there. His words, not mine. So I find that fascinating. Now, the interesting part is people go, how on earth does this work with now the nominated head of Health and Human Services, RFK Jr., who pretty much everybody believes that he's the opposite of what Wiles is pushing and opposite of big pharma and whatnot. I said, watch for the heel turn. And here's the heel turn. After Trump win, RFK Jr. says he won't take away anybody's vaxes. He won't take them away. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who will meet with senior Trump aides Wednesday to discuss his role going forward, said he would eliminate the nutrition departments of the FDA. But it says RFK Jr., who may play a key role overseeing public health issues in the second Trump administration, said Wednesday that he wouldn't take anybody's vaxes away. Said in an interview with NBC News whether there are specific jabs that he would remove from the market. Kennedy rejected the idea that he's anti-vaccine, despite his repeated claims about them being related to stuff. I got to be careful because the platform I'm on, and his involvement with Children's Health Defense, a leading anti-thing group. He reiterated that he wouldn't take them away from any Americans. It's theater being played. I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen. It was going to come out and he would have a heel turn. And he did. Why? Because in order for him to play the game, he has to be willing to bow down to the big pharma and the globalists to do so. It's just how it works. If you want to play the game, you got to play by their rules. That's just how it goes. And not to mention, he still fully supports abortion up until birth. If people forgot that was just a couple months ago that he said that he's for full-term abortion. So imagine that. Imagine that. Just keeps on getting better, doesn't it? Doesn't it? All right, let's keep rolling, shall we? Since we've covered that stuff, we'll go ahead and get into this one because I'm sure everybody's raring to talk about this one. I'm sure everybody's aware of the recently established DOGE, or Department of Government Efficiency, led by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. First things first, worth noting, it's not an official government department. They do not have authority over anybody. This is an outside think tank. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't have obvious influence, but they don't have the authority to literally go into places and start firing people. They have to send their recommendations over to the people who can. So keep that in mind. And as we know, DC is already filled with like 6,000 think tanks already. So what's one more? Right. I also find it fascinating. And when this was first announced, I did a video on it. It's actually based off a meme. If anybody knows the Doge dog, that's the Shiba Inu, which that was turned into a cryptocurrency after it became a meme. That's where the term meme coin came from. Now they have a department run by Musk and Vivek named after a meme, which again, that just shows the absolute theater and joke that politics are when it comes to this. But yeah, we're all aware of Elon Musk and his technology, SpaceX, his Starlink, the Neuralink, Grok AI, X platform, which he wants to turn into the everything app, including the like a main financial platform. He's working on like cryptocurrency and all that stuff as well. But often forgotten that people don't realize is his Tesla corporation is actually connected to CureVac. And I've talked about this before. But yeah, it says Tesla teams up. This was back in 2020. This is going on. It says Tesla teams up with CureVac to make RNA microfactories for the Koof shot. German vaccine maker CureVac has lost some shine in the race for the Koof shot after other mRNA-based hopefuls have captured regulators' attention. Even so, CureVac has reportedly snared a big partner to help build its game-changing RNA printers that could turn global interest back in its favor. Tesla CEO Elon Musk tweeted Thursday that the electronic car maker had signed on with CureVac to make important molecular RNA printers, what Musk appeared to refer to as the RNA microfactories, to help produce the German vaccine maker's Koof shot candidate. Musk said this company was working on printers as a side project and could take on additional partners in the future. You can see there through the tweet thing. And people don't realize that Musk is very pro vax as well. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, so Musk, of course, is all caught up in this as well, looking to make as much money through that as possible. But what about Vivek? Since he's the co-head of Doge with Musk. Well, again, I've done a thing on Vivek as well, but just in case you missed it, you're new here or you don't remember, just as a refresher. If people don't realize, Vivek Ramaswamy was, founder and CEO of Roivant Sciences after becoming a fellowship with the Paul and Daisy Soros group. If you guys don't know who Paul Soros is, that is George Soros's brother. That is right. Vivek Ramaswamy comes from the Soros group, and he went straight into Roivant Sciences, which, yes, is gene editing. stuff. We can see Vivek Ramaswamy strikes again with this time launching a Beijing-based biotech player with the pipeline. Roivant, of course, is biotech and bioengineering that was founded in China. And if you actually look at its records here, subsidy records of Roivant Sciences, you can see that China is listed among them as well. He's so anti-China and so anti-globalist, but why is he all surrounded by them? That's very fascinating, isn't it? Well, if you keep going, it says Roivant spin out Datavant emerges with Seox, Quakes, something like that, to form $7 billion health data giant. This is Datavant and Quakes, I'll just call it Quakes because it's fun to say, Health have agreed a merger that would create what they claim to be the largest health data company operating in the U.S. market. The combined company, which will take the Datavant name, will be worth around $7 billion and have annual revenues of around $700 million, according to the two companies. San Francisco-based Datavant was spun out of biopharma entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy's Roivant Group, which again in China, 2018, and operates a cloud-based platform that helps life sciences and healthcare groups manage, secure, and share anonymized data. And we could see here, this was the big one that came out in 2020. Datavant boots up a big COOF registry looking to shine a light on virus spread, impact, and most effective therapies. That's right. Vivek Ramaswamy, along with all of his bioengineering and data collection, wanted to take all of your DNA from the COOF tests in order to create a registry. But there's more. We can see Roivant. This is after Vivek left, but still kind of interesting. So I thought I would throw it in there. But stipulation, this was after he left. This was in 2022. Roivant and Pfizer team up on an inflammatory disease drug. It says biotech firm Roivant Sciences on Thursday launched a company with Pfizer Inc. Focused on experimental bowel disease treatment as the drug makers seek to tap into a multi-billion-dollar market. Yeah. Very, very interesting. So far, for draining the swamp, we've got big pharma lobbyists and connected to the UN, Swamp Thing, Susie Wiles. We've got RFK Jr. With family ties that go into, families that we don't have time for, as well as backtracking on his whole taking away the vax thing, which is kind of interesting. And then we've got the two heads of the Doge department, who was a transhumanist and a Satanist and a Hindu, who's all hooked up with Big Pharma and data collection and George Soros. Not seeing much when it comes to the draining of the swamp. But not to mention, let's not forget the connection of J.D. Vance to Vivek's brother, Shane Carr, shall we? If you guys remember, J.D. Vance started up the investment company Narya. And one of the connections is Kriya Therapeutics, which you actually go to Kriya's website. Shane Carr Ramaswamy, which is Vivek's brother, is the co-founder, chairman, and CEO of it. And what do? Well, they're gene therapy redefined. We are a biopharmaceutical gene therapy company developing life-changing gene therapies for conditions affecting millions of people around the world. Our mission is to make gene therapies accessible, not just to the few, but for the many. Along with that, if you look at it, Narya also funds Amplify Bio and Rumble, which I've talked about this as well. Amplify Bio, of course, is a concept commercial dedicated to providing expert services for drug discovery, characterization, optimization, in vitro and in vivo safety studies, and manufacturing for a broad range of drug modalities, including small molecule, cell, and gene therapies, mRNA, and other biologics. And then Rumble, of course, we can see Narya, which is JD Vance, and Peter Thiel lead investment into Rumble, which eventually rolled into True Social, now being a part of Rumble video and cloud services. And if you guys don't know what True Social is, that is Trump's platform, his social platform. And so Rumble is in bed with Trump, of course, because they're funded by people like Peter Thiel, who's in bed with Trump, and JD Vance. Of course, we see what's going on with that, and so on and so forth, which is why Rumble is that anti-left group where they're paying all these controlled op right-wing influencers to have their stuff over there, like Steven Crowder, Dan Bongino, Viva Frey, and on and on and on. You can follow that if you want to. But yeah, I'm not seeing any swamp draining. I'm not seeing any swamp draining. Are you? I'm just curious. Not seeing it. Okay, let's keep going. Maybe we can find a non-swamp thing along the way. Let's go ahead and jump over to Tulsi Gabbard. Everybody knows Tulsi Gabbard, right? Well, let's go take a look at what's going on with Tulsi. She has been nominated for the National Intelligence Director. Well, where does she come from? Yeah. Tulsi Gabbard is refocusing her military career in California. After 17 years, Tulsi Gabbard is leaving the Hawaii Army National Guard for a new unit on the mainland. Well, what is that unit? Please tell me. I'm curious. Well, in August, her congressional office issued a press release saying that the 17-year National Guard veteran will be joining a Civil Affairs Reserve unit on a deployment to Alaska to work with Alaska Native tribes. Last week, her office issued a press release saying she would go on 4 weeks of active duty with the reserves to train as a Civil Affairs officer. Neither press release explained that Gabbard, however, had transferred out of the Hawaii Army National Guard or that she was assigned to the Army Reserve's 351st Civil Affairs Command in Mountain View, California. So what is the 351st Civil Affairs Command, you ask? Well, Jeff Jacobs, who is a retired Major General in the Army Reserve, said Civil Affairs is a good fit for someone like Gabbard. Jacobs was in charge of the Army Civil Affairs and Psychological Affairs Command before retiring in 2014. And he said plenty of politicians have made their way through the ranks, including late South Carolina Senator Thurman and Ed Rendell. The command's mission is to engage with and influence civilians, whether it's helping to build schools, repair infrastructure, or as Jacobs did in Iraq, prop up local governments. The 351st Civil Affairs Group is connected to the U.S. Army's psychological division, the PSYOP division. Remember that big heel turn that she turned from being Democrat to Republican all of a sudden and was against all these types of things? And now she's got all these conservatives following along with her. Interesting. Let's keep going. Yes, she was also part of the Young Global Leaders, which she was excited to be a part of in 2015, which everybody says, no, she's changed her ways because she's come out and denounced the WEF and all that stuff. You sure? You sure? People don't realize that she was actually a member of the Council on Foreign Relations as well. Yes, the globalist New Age group that was created by the Rockefellers. Yeah. Connected to Chatham House, which is the first one created over in the UK. Yeah, she was part of the Council on Foreign Relations until 2019. You can see it right there. Her name's been scrubbed from the website. You got to go back in the Wayback Machine. Praise the Lord that they got that back up and running. But yeah, she was a part of that as well. Member of the WEF, PSYOPs, Council on Foreign Relations. Man. Fight the swamp, right? How about this? This is straight from her Instagram. That's her with a mask and a face shield. Says, I am oddly getting a lot of compliments on my face shield. Thanks, Corona. Oh, man. Ay, caramba. Yeah. I think we can put that into swamp category on that one. But again, as I'm going through this, I still got some more here. As I'm going through this, I'm not telling you guys what to believe. I'm just presenting to you what I have found. It's up to you. It is entirely up to you. I'm not going to beat you over the head and try and convince you. Sorry, I got something in the back of my throat there. Try and convince you. It's up to you. Take it in whatever direction you want. Go and double check, triple check all my stuff. Go be a brain. Go look it up yourself. Don't believe anything that I'm telling you. Go find it yourself. But at the same time, I'm not here to convince you one way or another. I'm just not. That's not my job. And, you know, what I find interesting, and I'm kind of extra perky tonight because I've had a few people come after me privately in my emails telling me I need to stop connecting dots to Trump. I need to stop doing it because I am causing division by doing that. And these aren't just random Joe Schmoes. These are actually people who have some say in what's going on. And I have received emails from them saying, I need to stop doing this. No, I'm not. Don't tell me what to do. I'm not here to play games. I'm not here to be cutesy footsy, friends with everybody. I'm not here to follow along with what everybody else is doing. I'm here to do what I believe the Lord is leading me to do. So if you're watching this and you're one of the people who has told me to stop doing this, no, I am not going to stop doing this. People need to know what is going on. And I will leave it at that. The nerve of telling me what I need to and need to not talk about is ridiculous. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to seek truth. And I think it's unfortunate that I'm being told you shouldn't do that in this community. That's unfortunate. Let's keep moving. How about John Ratcliffe, who was picked for CIA director? You want to talk about the scum of the earth. Meet John Ratcliffe. Well, Ratcliffe works hand in hand with Mike Pompeo. Remember how Trump came out and said he's not going to bring Mike Pompeo into his thing? That doesn't mean he's not bringing Mike Pompeo's stooges in. Ratcliffe works hand in hand with Mike Pompeo, including for the renewal of FISA 702, which was also something Trump supported and signed when he was in office as well. FISA 702, of course, is the absolutely ridiculous constitutional privacy destroying spyware surveillance system on us. And he was, of course, teamed up with Mike Pompeo to make sure that it gets in. He also lobbied alongside Pompeo and Bill Barr. You guys remember Bill Barr? I did a lot of stuff on him, deep state as they come, for Mike Johnson to renew. Well, let's take a look, shall we? What we got going on here? This is coming from U.S. Representative Mike Turner. It says, I'm proud to have the support of Mike Pompeo, Bill Barr, John Ratcliffe, Robert O'Brien, and Devin Nunes on H.R. 661, the FISA Reform and Reauthorization Act, which passed House until today. They wrote an open letter to Speaker Mike Johnson, encouraging him to support our legislation. You can see it here. Mr. Speaker, as former officials who have either worked for or with the intelligence community, we write today with serious concerns that a critical tool to help keep Americans safe, right, will cease to be available to the men and women who protect the United States each day. At the end of this month, Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA, will sunset. This is one of the most critical tools of the intelligence community at its disposal. Section 702 must be reauthorized and evidenced by FBI's prior flagrant abuses. FISA must be reformed. Not reformed in the way that you're thinking of rolling back things that affect us. No. They want more advancement on it. It must be reformed, like including congressional oversight and access to FISA court transcripts rather than warrant requirement. Remember, that was one of the big things where they no longer require a warrant to look at your private data. Yeah. Ratcliffe was in favor of that, working alongside Pompeo and Bill Barr. So what did hold on, let's see, just make sure that respectfully signed Pompeo, Barr, Ratcliffe, O'Brien, and Nunes. And what did Mike Johnson do? Well, he folded like a cheap suit. Not really, because he's part of the whole group too. He didn't fold. He was just told what to do, and so he did it. I went after Mike Johnson after that. I did an entire video about him. He's deep state too. He's as deep state as they come. But that's not all. Let's take a look at what else he's got going. Yeah, there's George W. Go out and go shopping, everybody. Patriot Act. Yeah, we can see here in the George W. Bush administration, Ratcliffe was initially appointed as chief of anti-terrorism and national security unit within the U.S. Department of Justice. That was during the 9/11 stuff, before being judicially appointed as the U.S. attorney, the highest federal prosecutor for the Eastern District of Texas during his DOJ tenure. Director Ratcliffe, and also elected to serve 4 terms as the nonpartisan mayor of Heath, Texas. Also, from 2008 until 2014, Director Ratcliffe was a founding partner with former U.S. Attorney General John Ashcroft. Oh, I'm sure some people recognize that name. Of Ashcroft Sutton Ratcliffe LLP, a firm providing strategic legal advice on national and international security issues. If you guys don't know who Ashcroft is, he was the Attorney General during the time of endorsing, creating, and pushing forward the Patriot Act. And so Ratcliffe there created a private security firm with him. Meet your CIA director. I don't know about you, but I'm putting that in swamp as well. Again, it's up to you. It's up to you. Let's just keep going, though. He also chose Pete Hegseth for Secretary of Defense. This guy's interesting. There's nothing like, super deep state about him, but he's not fit for the job. He's coming from his current position of Fox News host. Yeah, that's interesting. Pete Hegseth, chosen for Secretary of Defense, is coming from his current position of Fox News host, and prior was part of the National Guard. Now, I'm not taking anything away from what he did. I believe he earned 2 Bronze Stars, so I'm not taking anything away from that. However, how does National Guard qualify you to run the national defense? It doesn't. He's not qualified. He's not. Again, not taking away for what he has done, but in no way, shape, or form is he qualified or prepared to take on National Guard unit to full-on defense of an entire country. But Hegseth was a Trump groupie and is a huge advocate for, a quick advocate for soon and quick construction of the Third Temple. I don't have the video, but back in 2018, he made a fiery speech about getting the Third Temple built as soon as quickly as possible. This is interesting. I want you to hang on to this because you're actually going to notice that most of Trump's picks aren't America first. They're Israel first. And I think this is interesting. We'll get to that. Hang on to it. We'll get to that a little bit later. But I just wanted to put that out there. That's you'll notice that most of his picks are actually Israel first, not America first. And I think this is big on possibly what's going on prophetically as we move forward, where we're starting to see God's eyes move more and more and more over to Israel on this. Of course, we've got Marco Rubio, who was picked for Secretary of State. I'm not going to go through this dude's laundry list of problems, but he's a deep stater, a socialist, anti-United States. He's part of the woke agenda support, and he's just a puppet, a stooge that will do whatever he's being paid to do. His bank account has been so flooded with lobbyist money, it's absolutely ridiculous. We're aware of this guy. He's a clown. He's a deep stater. That was an absolutely ridiculous choice on that one. Let's move down to, Matt Gaetz picked as Attorney General. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, Mr. Botox. Everybody knows Matt Gaetz, right? He picked Matt Gaetz for Attorney General, who is a bot stooge with mountains of pedophilia accusations and sexual ethics complaints against him. Yeah, this is the dude that was out there with reports from people in Congress saying Matt Gaetz walks around and was showing photos of underage women that he took across border and slept with. But that all whisked away. Just disappear. Bye-bye. Why? Because if you watch many of the videos while Congress is currently in session, you'll see somebody come over, whisper something in his ear, his face drops, and then all of a sudden his vote changes the next time that they convene for a vote. Because they've got dirt on him. They've got blackmail on him. Gates also argued against reevaluating Epstein's easy punishment. So he was arguing that Epstein didn't need a stronger punishment to protect him. Yeah. As well as Gates is very close friend and associate of a guy by the name of Chuck Johnson, who's also a protector of Epstein and has been protesting for the Free Ghislaine Maxwell campaign. Johnson, Gates' friend here, is also close associates of Peter Thiel. Pedos unite. Pedos unite. Let's keep going. Trump also picked Lee Zeldin, who is for head of the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. Zeldin here is connected to the Climate Solutions Caucus, as well as Conservative Climate Caucus. To join that, you must recognize climate change, as well as understand the caucus's support of carbon pricing and carbon tax. Yes, even the Republicans are going with the carbon tax. Yep. A little thing that's going to go hand in hand with the currency that often gets forgot about when it comes to this. They also have a similar agenda to the carbon credit system, as well as nature financing. Remember when I did a whole thing about the natural assets financing that they were going to do, where they want to turn environment into investment opportunities to make money off of it? Yes, he's in favor and in support of that. Fun times. We got another fun one here. Mike Waltz was picked for National Security Advisor. Strap in for this one, boys and girls. Waltz is also part of the Conservative Climate Caucus. Waltz is also a war hawk with China and Iran. He wants to go to war with both of them. Was part of the planning staff for the National Guard's coup response effort. He supported the 2021 and 2022 NDAA, which, if you don't remember, in 2022, the NDAA was to allow women to be drafted into the military. He supported that. He also made bank with his defense contracting group, Metis Solutions, which was about training Afghani soldiers. Yes. Congressmen seeking to relaunch Afghan war made millions in defense contracting. But I thought Trump was against the military-industrial complex. That's what everybody's been telling me. But the evidence says otherwise. Florida Republican Michael Waltz made up to $25 million from the sales of Metis Solutions, a defense contractor with a spotty record training Afghan security forces. Few lawmakers are as outspoken about the end of the war in Afghanistan as Michael Waltz, a Republican from Florida's 6th congressional district. In recent weeks, Waltz has called on President Joe Biden to reverse course, relaunch military operations in the region, and crush the Taliban offensive by committing American air power supported by special forces. The Florida congressman was warned darkly of an Al-Qaeda 3.0 and stated that no negotiations should take place with the Taliban until the situation is stabilized militarily. Basically, he took his military contracting group out there, defense contracting group, went out there and started training the enemy and made bank off of it. Does that sound like not a CIA? Does that sound like globalist? Does that sound like deep state? Does to me. Does to me. If that's not enough, however, Waltz also voted for the Respect for Marriage Act, which codified homosexual marriage as federal law. So he's for homosexual marriage, and he was also Dick Cheney's counterterrorism advisor. That's just a little cherry on top of that one. That's who Trump picked for National Security Advisor. Wow. Fun times. Now, there's other people with this, but what I'm eagerly watching for is the Treasury Secretary. That's what I'm waiting for. Trump hasn't picked one yet. There's a few people, a few names that have been thrown out. One apparently is in the lead for it. Now, we don't know who it's going to be yet, but I took a look at the guy who's in the lead because I wanted to know what was going on. And so apparently the guy in the lead for Trump to pick for Treasury Secretary is a guy by the name of Scott Bessent. Swamp. Money manager Scott Bessent of 84 on failure choosing a major in how finance is like journalism. Scott Bessent currently serves as the chief investment officer of Soros Fund Management, a $30 billion family office. After graduation, Bessent went to work at Brown Brothers Harriman, then did stints at Kiniko's associate, the Soros Fund, Protege Partners, and others before George Soros recruited him as the CIO in 2011. In August, Bessent announced that he will leave at the end of the year with a $2 billion allocation from Soros himself to start his own hedge fund. Along with that, the George Soros partner who disrupted right-wing publishing, All Seasons Press, founded by billionaire investor Scott Bessent, has a funny habit of signing big-name MAGA authors to book contracts, then suing them. Let's keep going. Bessent worked for Soros from 1991 to 2000, rising the firm's head of European allocation by his department, and returned to Soros from 2011 to 2015 as the fund's chief investment officer, departing again to run Key Square with a $2 billion investment from the 94-year-old Soros. I think he'd be outstanding as Treasury Secretary, said Senator Lindsey Graham. Oh, that's a ringing endorsement if I've ever heard one before. So Scott Bessent, who primarily lives in Charleston, South Carolina, with his husband, John Freeman, and their 2 children. That is child abuse. Absolutely child abuse. Could be the first Senate-approved alphabet member and a Republican candidate. Remember, Richard Grinnell became the first openly gay acting cabinet member when Trump tapped him as the acting director of national intelligence in 2020. That's not all. Bessent was also part of the Soros Fund Management, and in 1992, he led the team that helped crash the British pound, which is known as Black Wednesday. Go and look it up. That was George Soros and Scott Bessent who crashed the pound back in 1992. Along with that, Bessent also has a seat at Rockefeller University. If that wasn't enough. Apparently, he's in the lead to be picked for Treasury Secretary. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Now, again, he's got other picks and stuff. I didn't look into all of them. But the overarching theme on this is most are Israel first, not the United States first. Now, why is this so important? Because I believe this fits into the idea that the focus is shifting to Israel as we prepare for post-rapture prophecies. I believe Trump was purposely installed to push forward the Israel first agenda. Why? Well, I've talked about this a lot. The Freemasons have orchestrated this. Freemasons, Albert Pike's 3 World Wars. So far, the first 2 have planned out exactly as they planned them to get things ready for the state of Israel, to create the state of Israel, which, of course, and many people still don't like this, but it was the Rothschilds who came in along with the Freemasons and the British government to establish the nation of Israel. Of course, that was 1948, which Israel became a nation overnight, which that was prophecy being fulfilled. God used evil men to fulfill his prophecy. And now I believe that they want to do this. Why? Why do they want this? Well, first of all, we know World War III is going to kick off over there. That's what the Freemasons have said. World War III is going to kick off between the state of Israel and Islam. And things are obviously getting prepped for that. Also, another thing that they want to do is the absolute obsession with the Freemasons wanting to build the third temple. I did a thing on this on my End Times New Age series where I talked about the Freemasons and their obsession with King Solomon. And if you guys don't, the Star of David, that's what the Freemasons believe gave Solomon his power through his ring. It has the Star of David on there. And because he was known as the magician, able to do all these powerful things and whatnot, they want that temple built. And so we have so many people, including like Hegseth and Trump and Kushner and all these people that want to build that temple. And so the best way to do that is to build an Israel first group as opposed to a United States group first, which I think is very, very interesting. Having a heavy influence of pro-Israel seems to line up with getting things set for the Middle East. And so if we take a look at some of the stuff that's going on, as far as this goes, we can see Jared Kushner is expected to be pivotal to Trump's admin in the Middle East without taking a formal job. So kind of like how Vivek and Musk don't technically have a formal job within the government, but they're still influencing and working on things. Jared Kushner is going to do the same thing because he's been one of the lead guys when it comes to establishing connections between Israel and Saudi Arabia. And of course, as I said before, we can see here the next U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth called for the new Jewish temple to be built on the Temple Mount. Along with that, people don't realize, even going back to his first administration, the idea and obsession of Trump being the king of Israel has continued all the way up until now, ultimately. Here's just a few things. This is a mix between 2018 and now. Christian and Jews are now compared Trump to Persian King Cyrus. Will he build the third temple? I've been seeing even the prophecy guys saying this. This is like Cyrus 2,500 years ago. Trump is seen as an instrument of God. They're all instruments of God if they're in power because he's using them. He raises them up and brings them down. And the plan to build the third temple on the Temple Mount. It says right here, who's King Cyrus and why did Netanyahu compare him to Trump? People aren't going to like this, but Bibi Netanyahu is a globalist as well. I've talked about the things that he's involved with that. We can see here why Trump is being compared to the obscure King Jehu on the Christian right. Messianic community leaders declared Donald Trump a trumpet of God. And we can see here, this was back in 2019, Trump tweets quotes calling him the second coming of God to Jews in Israel. And these aren't Trump's words, but he's quoting from somebody who did say them. And obviously he's in support if he's doing just that. It says, thank you to Wayne Allen Root for the very nice words. President Trump is the greatest president for the Jews and for Israel in the history of the world, not just America. He is the best president for Israel in the history of the world, and the Jewish people in Israel love him. Like he's the king of Israel. They love him like he is the second coming of God, but American Jews don't know him or like him. They don't even know what they're doing or saying anymore. It makes no sense, but that's okay if it keeps going the way that they're doing. Wow, man. That's some blasphemous words if I've ever seen it before. But this is how I seem to see things going, is moving in that direction when it comes to this. Now, with that, as somebody asked the question before, along with that, there is a major indication of his words that he's been repeating a whole lot during this campaign about the new golden age of America, or the age of Aquarius. This is where the spiritual stuff comes in. I don't have time to do a whole history thing, but again, I've talked about this End Times New Age series and Aliens and Demons series. I talk about the spirituality, the mystery of religion that flows throughout all of this. And the Age of Aquarius is something that people have been looking for. There's been several pinpoint dates of when it began. Nobody really knows, that type of stuff. People just kind of pinpoint it, but everybody is in agreement that it's happening around this time. That those who believe in this new age, age of Aquarius. And so again, I've dug into it before. I went over the age of Aquarius in part 1 of my Aliens and Demons series. So I just pulled this slide from it so I can give an idea of what it means for the age of Aquarius, or the new golden age that he's been spitting out there. And as we know, and if you don't know, Trump is very big on new thought. He was raised up by Norman Vincent Peale. That was his pastor. That was his dude. And Norman Vincent Peale was a Satanist who was a part of the power of thought, power of positive thinking. And it's New Thought is a metaphysical religion where the idea is of, if you think about it long and hard enough, if you can concentrate on it, you can actually manifest or create reality in front of your eyes. And so the best example I can give is the reason why the sky is blue is because the majority of people on Earth believe that the sky is blue, so it's blue. If the majority of people on Earth all believe that the sky was green, we would see the sky turn green. That's how they believe that it works. Norman Vincent Peale is one of those people. Of course, Norman Vincent Peale was teamed up with people like Billy Graham and whatnot, but that's what Trump was raised up in. So he's got the new age, the new thought, the metaphysical. He's obsessed with Apollyon, if anybody's ever seen that, which is demonic, of course, king of the locusts that we read in Revelation. But he's obsessed with these types of things. So when he's talking about the golden age, he's talking about an age of Aquarius. If you guys don't remember, I don't know if it was this campaign or his last campaign, but one of his walkout songs was the Age of Aquarius song, which is kind of fascinating. But yeah, there's 4 points that are supposed to be brought about in the Age of Aquarius. One is a mind shift from self into the human collective. So that is a global consciousness changing from self to a more unified level. So it's about collective consciousness of others rather than self. Now, of course, we live in a absolutely self-driven world, but you'll see many people involved with Trump, even like Elon Musk, speak often about how we need a collective conscious movement towards community, which this is something that Trump has been talking about when it comes to being the party of unity now. He really wants to bring unification. He wants to bring about unity of everything to live in a more cohesive world. And I think that's fascinating. That's one of the key points of the Age of Aquarius. Another one is Age of Transparency. What is something that Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy and some of these other guys have been pushing for a very long time? Transparency. We want everybody to see everything. We want your input, the collective input, in order to make change. And we're going to show you everything that we're doing. That's 2 points in one. That's collective unity as well as transparency. This is something that Trump has also been pushing for us. See what I'm doing and bring your input for doing so. Explosion of technology and computers. Well, that brings about people like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and Eric Schmidt and the Silicon Valley bros and all these people that have been pushing and pushing and pushing when it comes to technology and AI and surveillance systems and biometrics and all these types of things. Again, Trump has come out there and said he wants digital stablecoins, a Bitcoin reserve. He wants to make America the capital of cryptocurrency. He wants to make America first in AI. There's the Manhattan projects that has to do with working with Silicon Valley. He's big on bringing about technology, and this is one of the big things of the Age of Aquarius, or as he would say, the Golden Age. And last but not least, the dissolving of religions and embracing of spiritual enlightenment. This, of course, goes along with the one world religion that we want to do. I don't have necessarily anything that puts that on display with Trump necessarily. Maybe this Israel thing will have something to do with that. I don't know. So I'm not going to sit here and say that that's something that he's indeed doing, but we do know that we will continue to progress as we've been seeing the unification of the different religions in order to help push towards that one world religion. So I can't pin that on Trump, and I'm not going to attempt to do that because that would be wrong of me to do that. But I do find that fascinating. That's one of the main points as well. So when he's talking about this new golden age of America, he's pretty much nailing 3 of the 4 points of the Age of Aquarius. Again, I don't know what's up with the 4th one with Trump. Maybe we'll see something later. Maybe we won't. I don't know. But I do find it fascinating that his campaign and his policies really have a lot to do with that transition, which I think is interesting. And of course, his background points to that. He never grew up in a Christian background. This idea that's getting pushed around that he grew up in a Christian background is completely false. And I've debunked that. Norman Vincent Peale was not a Christian. He was a Satanist who believed in metaphysical religious beliefs. And that's what Trump grew up with. And so did his father, Fred. He was best friends with Norman Vincent Peale, and that's what he instilled in Trump. So that's very fascinating that it's going in that direction. And last but not least, a little bit when it comes to Peter Thiel. As we know, Peter Thiel is one of the main puppeteers behind Trump that's moving all of this stuff forward. Peter Thiel is the one that got Trump hooked up with JD Vance, which, has anybody seen JD Vance lately? I haven't seen him since like 2 weeks before the election even took place. He's just been off the radar, which I find fascinating. It's not Trump and Vance, it's Trump and Musk, which I find very fascinating that that's going on. Almost like Vance is just a puppet being used. But the latest coming from Peter Thiel, of course, Palantir is and Anthropic. They're technically both invested by Peter Thiel on this one. But we get it here. It says this was November 7th. It says Anthropic and Palantir Technologies today announced a partnership with Amazon Web Service to provide U.S. intelligence and defense agencies access to Claude 3 and 3.5 family of models on AWS, which is, of course, is the AI programs. This partnership allows for an integrated suite of technology to operationalize the use of Claude within Palantir's AI program while leveraging the security, agility, flexibility, and sustainability benefits provided by AWS. The partnership facilitates the responsible application of AI, enabling the use of Claude within Palantir's products to support government operations such as processing vast amounts of complex data rapidly, elevating data-driven insights, identifying patterns and trends more effectively, streamlining document review and preparation, and helping U.S. officials to make more informed decisions in time-sensitive situations like preserving their decision-making authorities. Claude became accessible with Palantir AIP on AWS earlier this month. Remember, Palantir is one of the main data collection, biometric, and surveillance state investment companies and builders of this stuff. They work out with so many different companies, including like Palmer Luckey's defense group. I can't remember the name of it. Endural. They work with Endural. They work with Clearview AI. They work with Carbine, which of course is the Israeli company that has connected to our 911 service situation here, where they're spying on 911 calls and getting AI set up in order to do automatic emergency service calls. And there's a whole bunch of other technology that Peter Thiel and Palantir are all connected to. But his goal is to get as much data and surveillance as possible. Now, keep in mind, one of the things that Trump wants to do, of course, is the biometric visa system, air, sea, and land for anybody with the United States. And I find that fascinating that if you team that up with a program that's been sitting there dormant for a while, but is still sitting there, is a program called E-Verify, which is a volunteer program which has to do with digital IDs and confirming that that's your identity, that you're a United States citizen and such and such. If you were to take something from Anthropic and Palantir from Peter Thiel and combine it with E-Verify, Trump would have his biometric visa system as well as a digital ID system and a biometric verification system all in one that would be used for passports, but also to gain any bank account, to gain any job, to go to school, to do any such and such. You will have to use that program. That's something to keep in mind and watch for, because that lines up with exactly what they want to push. Now, also keep in mind when it comes to Peter Thiel, there's some stuff when it comes to Palantir winning $100 million U.S. contract for AI targeting tech that had to do with the U.S. military's program for using AI to target subjects for military extermination, to say the least, targets to shoot with their technology. Of course, they're using AI for that. And then I talked about this as well. Microsoft Palantir team up on artificial intelligence national security push. Peter Thiel has been working on this for a long time, ever since Trump was in office in 2016. Peter Thiel's been working on this stuff behind the scenes, partnering with Trump, getting this stuff all set up, getting contacts set up with Silicon Valley and all that type of stuff. This is nothing new. Also keep in mind, you want to talk about draining the swamp. Not really draining the swamp, but if you go to the Bilderberg Steering Committee, yes, the Bilderbergs, you got, of course, I just threw his name on there, but Borge Brendan, who's president of the World Economic Forum. But you have Alex Karp, who is CEO of Palantir Technologies. You have Eric Schmidt, who, of course, is former CEO and chair of Google, but he's now working with Trump behind the scenes with Peter Thiel. And you have, of course, Peter Thiel, who's president of Thiel Capital, connected to Palantir and all the other groups as well. All of those men are on the steering committee of the Bilderberg meetings. And 3 of them that we know of for sure work with Trump behind the scenes when it comes to setting this stuff up. And they're part of the Bilderberg. There's no draining the swamp, man. Just like he did his first administration, he's filling the swamp. And this time, since there's no going back and there's no second or third election to worry about, and they've built Trump up to be the perfect the Luciferians have built Trump up to be the perfect asset. They're going all out with their picks to get this stuff done now. Now is the time for them to move. There's never been a better condition for them to get this stuff done. And it's going to get done. Why do we know that? Well, Bible doesn't confirm this stuff exactly, but it definitely confirms the stuff that's coming that they want to do for sure. So, well, hopefully that gives you an idea of who he's picking for his administration. Again, that's not all of them. We'd be here forever. I also don't have time to look into all of them. And we don't know who's going to get switched out or changed out. We don't know who's going to take what position. There's still a bunch of positions left open and everything is wide open. But I was asked about a lot of these people. So I thought I'd just go ahead and do this and answer this question on this. Okay. Let's take a look at the questions. Oh my goodness. There's a lot of them. Okay. I'm going to try and answer as many of these as I can. So if I don't go like dig deep into this, I apologize. But I want to try and answer as many as we can. Okay. So Maria Martinez, can you comment on Trump saying we're in the golden age? Hopefully, Maria, you're still here. And I kind of addressed that on that one. Terry Kissamore question. I've used Brave for a long time, but what do you think of Start Page? I never even heard of them before. So my thought is that's an interesting name. Yeah, I've never heard of them before, Terry. I'm sorry. So I don't have an answer for you on that one. Brave is good though. I do. I can endorse that one. I am his beloved question. Have you heard about them, the WEF, saying the COOF was a test of our obedience? I haven't been able to confirm that headline yet. I haven't heard that headline from my research. It seems like that would be a part of the plan. Obviously, this has to do with gathering as much data on people as possible in order to feed it into their AI programs in order to predict how we move. That's part of our digital twin program. So that would kind of line up with that. But I don't know if that's a quote from somebody from the WEF. I haven't seen that. Frank, question. Do you still have a program on Hope for Our Times? No, I do not. I left Hope for Our Times a couple months ago. Let's see. Patrick Starr, question. Do you think Trump receives advanced medical treatment that keep him extremely healthy for his age, like the Illuminati do? Seems pretty sharp for being in his late 70s. I just find it fascinating that he eats as much McDonald's as he does, and he's not 600 pounds, to be honest. And I'm not saying that as like an insult. I mean, I'm shocked that he's not larger than he is for the amount of junk he eats. It wouldn't surprise me. His brain, if you guys notice, is he's having a hard time putting together a coherent paragraph now. If you go back and listen to his stuff back in 2016, he was a bit more sharp and quick-witted. He's kind of lost a step on putting stuff together recently. I'm not saying he's stupid or anything. I think he's starting to show some of that. But wouldn't it be surprised me if he's getting advanced medical treatments of some type? They've got money, they've got connections, they can all do that. Empress Kimberly, question. Why would Trump want somebody representing Pfizer when Pfizer threw him under the bus by holding the vax till the 2020 election? Weird. I just bring what I can. I don't necessarily have answers for everything on that one. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do particularly with Pfizer. Maybe it has something to do with other connections that Wiles has with other pharmaceutical companies. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. But that is an answer that I do not have on that one. Let's see here. Rebecca Sunny Farm question. What do you think about Prophecy Watchers adding Jonathan Kahn to their lineup. It was a shock to me. I quit watching them now. Thank you for having a Prophecy lineup for free. Well, you're welcome for that. I think it's unfortunate Prophecy Watchers is endorsing a con artist like Jonathan Kahn. It's not the first time they've had him on for a long time. This is, I think, the first time that they're having him on for conferences, though. I think it's unfortunate. I'm starting to see more and more of those shysters and con men associate within groups like that. And as you guys know, my stance on that, I think we need to be much more selective of who we associate with for various reasons. I've gone over all that stuff before, but I disagree with the idea. But it's their thing. They can do what they want. Patricia Schultz question: have you seen the picture of Trump getting a walkthrough in a chemtrail airplane? Trump's aware of that as well. I have not. If you have that, email it to me so I can check it out. I have not seen that. TH question: have you heard or do you know if MAGA is the title of a high-level satanic position priest? I've heard this, but do not know. Yeah, if you go and look at my election aftermath video that I did just like a week ago, I go over that. I show what it is. But yeah, MAGA in the Church of Satan is the highest title for basically the high magician. And yeah, MAGA is part of that. And as we know, when Musk came on, they started doing dark MAGA and all that type of stuff. So interesting. Rick Whitaker, why do they want to alter our genes? That's an episode in itself, Rick. That's an episode in itself. I can't sit here and tell you that this is what they want to do ultimately, but as we know, or as we speculate, I don't want to say as we know, but as we speculate, and what I firmly believe, if I'm come across something that changes that, I'll change my opinion. But I believe that the mark of the beast is going to alter humans to make them non-human anymore, because that will make it so Christ's sacrifice can't work for them, because it has to be part of the has to be 100% human for it to work. And so I think a lot of the altering of genes has a lot to do with that. There's other things that they're doing and want to do and stuff like that, but we don't necessarily have time to get into it. But I think that's the main reason, is they're working towards that. Let's see here. Carol Goldbrick, Zach, did you hear about a Rabbi Burger? Oh, now I'm hungry. Sorry. Rabbi Burger write up in Israel 365 News that Trump may play a big role in building the third temple. Yeah, I kind of talked about how I think that's where things are shifting towards that. So we just got to wait and see what's going on with that. But it seems to be, again, the shift towards Israel focus and Israel first type of deal, which I think will play a big part in all of this. Jeffrey Crone question: can you name any congressmen or women that you like? I have respect for Thomas Massey. There's stuff that I disagree with him on, but I have respect for him. So beyond that, not really. Now, I'm not, again, don't take this in the wrong way and say that they're all in on it. Not every single one of them is in on it. Some of them are just there doing what they're doing, none the wiser. But yeah, I respect Thomas Massey. Honestly, that's about it. Let's see here. Landy Taylor question: you mentioned Freemasonry. Did you notice how Trump's hands were on Wednesday during his meeting with Biden? Is there a certain way, shape, or hands like the triangle, or did I dream that? Yeah, okay. I'm glad you actually asked this question. I am glad that you asked this question. And Machine Gun Kelly, no one else. I don't know every single representative, so I can't sit here. And if I looked into some of them, I'm sure that list would grow. But just from what I know, Thomas Massey is the only one that I respect. Yeah, I see this all the time. And the symbolism and stuff is there. I'm not diminishing that. There is symbolism, like the one eye stuff and the triangle stuff and everything like that. It's there. I think sometimes people just take it a little too far away, where anytime they see anything remotely close, they do with it. I know how Trump sits. He sat that way for a long time. If anybody, you can't see it because I'm off camera, but there's sometimes when I'm talking, when my hands are sitting on my desk, I'm making that shape. And I just do it. I don't consciously do it. It just happens. Like my hands just fall in that direction and I make that shape. So when he's sitting there and he's doing that, I wouldn't pay much attention to it, honestly. It's when they do that symbolism, that's more of a sign towards somebody that they want to communicate with. I've seen stuff in like courtroom settings where the judge, not the judge, somebody, one of the people, I don't know the name of it, but one of the people that's a part of the court system that's in the courtroom actually made a specific sign towards the judge, and then the judge actually made a ruling right after that went in favor of the person. I've seen stuff in the House of Congress when they're having communication or when somebody's up at the platform talking and whatnot. You'll see the person turn around, somebody behind them will make a quick sign with their hands, and then the person will turn around and move forward. Those are the signs that I think you should be aware of. When somebody's just sitting there with their hands like that, I don't think that's anything to pay attention to. So don't take it too far. The signs are legit, but don't take it too far when it comes to that type of stuff. Because again, I sit there with my hands in a triangle too, but I'm not Freeman, or am I? But yeah, so I wouldn't read too much into it, honestly. Let's see here. Jeffrey Crone question: do you think Trump will fulfill his campaign promises that people think are good just to cover what he is doing behind the scenes? I don't think he has to cover anything anymore. Again, this is full court push, in my opinion. And so I don't think he has to cover for anything anymore. I think the moves that he's going to make are going to be specifically done for specific things, and it has nothing to do with our benefit. I believe it has to do with moving things forward. So I don't think he's going to be doing anything to cover stuff anymore, Jeff. Yeah, I think everything is a full court push now to get the agenda done that they want to do. Let's see here. Lisa Gary question, Gary or Jerry? I'm not sure. Pondering Trump and Netanyahu bringing about two-state solution. I covered that last Saturday. I covered that's back on the table for the two-state solution. Peace and security in Israel, which God will allow to set up a path for the third temple to be built and Antichrist rises. Yeah, that's, again, I think that's what this Israel first administration that they're putting together is going to be working towards. I think it has everything to do with getting stuff ready for post-rapture prophecies to happen. I absolutely believe that for sure. Joseph Pena, do you think Ezekiel 38 is World War III or leads to it? I don't think it's World War III. I think Ezekiel 38 will kind of play a part a little bit. I don't think it's going to be like what people think, or like being World War III in itself. But I do believe that Ezekiel 38 will take place before the covenant is signed. After the rapture, before the covenant. That gap, I think that's where it'll fall in line. And as we know, again, it's just something to think about. Just something to think about, just throwing it out there. I believe that that's going to happen in that gap. But then the war horse rides after, or actually a little bit before. Never mind. Forget that. I'm going to sound like an idiot if I keep going with that train of thought, and I don't want to do that. So let me think about that first. Never mind. Forget that. All right, moving on. Carolyn R. Yes, Carolyn R. Question: have you heard of the book Lord Maitreya or the New Golden Age, 1942? Yes. Lord Maitreya. Again, Aliens and Demons series. If you guys want to know how all these religions and stuff kind of roll into one specific thing for the coming Antichrist, I go over it on the Aliens and Demons. But yeah, Lord Maitreya plays a part with the coming Antichrist and all that type of deal. Golden Age also is something to keep in mind, which is interesting that it's 1942. That was when Nazi Germany was going on. That was a big proponent. I go over Nazi Germany in the Aliens and Demons series as well. But the Golden Age also applies to the Age of Saturn as well, which of course that has to do with Satan and whatnot, Antichrist coming down and everything. So, and that's all wrapped up in the Age of Aquarius as well. So, but yes, I have heard of that, Carolyn. Never read it, but I have heard of it. Jackie Gleason. Jackie Clausen. What was wrong with Billy Graham? I go over Billy Graham in the End Times New Age series, but he was a universalist. Many of his crusades were promoted and funded and put on by Catholic organizations, which many of the new converts at them were sent to Catholic churches. He would also send people to Norman Vincent Peale. He was connected to the Clinton family, and Billy Graham was also he received a grant from, what is the guy's name? There was a guy who he put on a fund. I can't remember his name for the life of me. But his goal was to give grants to people who were pushing progressive religion towards a one world religion. And Billy Graham received a grant from that as well, along with Bill Bright. Bill Bright also received that as well. I explain all that stuff in the End Times New Age series. It's one of the later episodes. But yeah, I go for Billy Graham. So, and because I already know people are going to come after me on this, I'm not saying that people did not come to Christ through Billy Graham. I believe that many people did find true salvation with the true Jesus through Billy Graham. But the ends doesn't justify the means, and Billy Graham has had beliefs and associations that were not correct and completely flawed. But again, God can use those people to do it. But I will never personally recommend Billy Graham to anybody. Trace Severs question: why did Trump say Christians will never have to vote again? I can't tell you for sure what that answer is, but it falls in line with my theory that he's going to become a dictator, and this is going to be the last president that the United States has. That's just my theory. I don't exactly have if I had a way to sneak into Trump's room when he's explaining that to somebody that he gives the truth to, I would do that, but I don't have that ability. But I think it falls in line with this is going to be I think this is the last hurrah for the United States personally, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm not predicting or setting anything. I think this is just going to be it though. We'll see. I am his beloved. Question: thoughts on Simpsons showing us Trump would be in office in 2024? They just get another one right. Yeah, that Matt Groening guy who creates the Simpsons, he's definitely on the in. I don't know how, but he's definitely on the in because he sure has a lot of predictive programming in his shows. Okay, and last but not least, where is it? Peanut Gallery. The Peanut Gallery, Stephanie. Did you know that in Leven, New Zealand, there is a furniture store named Shack? Nope. 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 This is a Christian program. This is a Christian program. So we're going to skip that and go, how long do you think you'd be employed there if you had the answer to the phone? 2 minutes and 22 seconds. 2 minutes and 23 seconds. That's about as long as I would be employed there. That's it. That's it. You're trying to get me in trouble, Stephanie. That's mean. That's mean. Can't be doing that. So, all right, that's all I got with the questions. Y'all are a bunch of nut jobs. Oh, y'all are a bunch of nut jobs. So with that, we're going to go ahead and end, of course, with the most important part of all this, which is the gospel of Jesus Christ. This is why we do this. This is the whole reason why we get together twice a week and come together and fellowship and go over all this stuff and the news and everything like that. And it is gospel Jesus Christ. Again, outreach is so important. We need to be out there reaching as many people as we can. That's what we're commanded to do. That's why, to occupy is to do business, the Lord's business, to be busy with his work, which is the Great Commission. And so we always end with the gospel of Jesus Christ, which is as simple as ABC. A is you admit that you're a sinner. The act of repentance is changing mind. It's metanoia, changing from self to Christ, realizing that I am a sinner, I have sinned, and I can't do this on my own, and that I need Jesus Christ alone to save me, for he is the only one who can save me. And so it's through repentance that allows us to have true belief in Jesus Christ. We believe that Jesus Christ is the one and only begotten Son of God, that he came down 100% man, 100% God, the God-man, and he lived the perfect sinless life, the one and only to do so, which means he was the only one qualified to take the sins of the world upon his shoulders, to take our place upon that cross. That should have been us. That should have been me on that cross. But I hammered those nails in. And then he died upon the cross through crucifixion, still to this day, the worst death anybody can suffer. But because there's power in the blood of Jesus, because just as he prophesied he would, just as he promised he would, he defeated death and rose again on the third day, for all who believe in him shall not perish, but live forever. Sometimes we use that word forever too often that it loses its meaning. Forever, eternity, a time that doesn't end. We will be in that time in the presence of his glory. For all who believe in him shall not perish, but live forever in his presence and in his glory. And see, as you call upon the Lord, you call upon the Lord, where you just come to the Lord and say, Lord Jesus, I am a sinner and I have sinned and I need you alone to save me. Lord Jesus, I believe that you are the one and only begotten Son of God. I believe that you came down and lived the perfect sinless life. I believe that you died upon the cross and rose again on the third day. Lord Jesus, come into my life, come into my heart and save me, Lord Jesus. Amen. Remember, knowing the story and believing in Jesus are two different things, two very different things. We often oversimplify the gospel where people come out and say, hey, let me tell you about Jesus, and then recite these words and you're good to go. And unfortunately, I think we're going to see many, many people left behind because they believe that that's all they needed to do to punch their ticket. And unfortunately, that is part of the doctrine of Satan that says, you know what? People are on to me that I'm complicating it too much. Now I'm going to try and oversimplify it. Knowing and believing are two different things. We must put our belief and our trust in Jesus. Remember that. All right, guys, that is all we got. That's it. What are y'all still doing here? Why are we here? Why am I here? What am I doing? Anyways, thank you guys for joining me today. And again, go out there and be busy. Man, just go out there and be busy with the Lord's work. Share the gospel. Don't be afraid to be the weird guy. Just tell people about Jesus. Tell people about what Jesus has done for you. Go out there, share the gospel, and make disciples. That is ultimately what we need to do for sure. And so with that, I want to go ahead and plug this again. Probably you guys are probably going to get sick of this, but I do want to put this out there. The If We're Still Here Bible Prophecy Shindig. I didn't even want to use the term conference. I wanted to stay away from that. So I went with shindig, because how on earth can anybody resist a shindig? Have you ever been invited to a shindig? You're always there, right? I mean, how can you turn it down? It's a shindig. So we're having a Bible prophecy shindig, if we're still here, that is. But yeah, 100% free, no cost, none whatsoever. Zilch will cost you nothing. Just get your heathenic booties over there, and it's online. There's no travel. You don't need to go anywhere. You can send it to everybody. It'll be there forever until they take down the internet. And it's March 15th, 2025. It is a Saturday, so there's no excuse. You should be home, ready to go. Yeah, it's a Saturday. And of course, we got, JB Hickson, JD Farag, David Bowen, John Prescott, Toby Stevens, and some weird guy on the end. I don't know who that is, but you don't have to stay for that one. But yeah, this thing is coming up again. I'm still working on getting some more people on there. Hopefully we can get a couple more, and they're on board for that. But again, I want this to be an outreach. I want this to change the norm that it's become of these expensive prophecy conferences that just is limited in time and where people can go and what they can do. I think we've lost focus of what we're called to do right now. And if we're still here, hopefully we can reach out and make this the best darn prophecy shindig that's ever been happening. I'm going to George W. Bush again all of a sudden. Maybe I can get George Bush to come speak at this thing. Then we can all throw tomatoes at his face. Anyway. But yeah, so I'll have the event page up on the website afterwards. But anyways, okay. Usual spiel. If you guys can, like, share, subscribe, get this out to as many people as you can. It's not about views, not about butts and seats, but it is about getting the warning out to people, getting people to Jesus. And yeah, I saw somebody said, what time? No time set. So again, details will come on that. And I saw another thing on there. Where'd it go? Yes, there will be a chat. It'll be on YouTube, so the chat will be going, so you guys can chat away. But yeah, so if you guys can, like, share, subscribe, get this out to as many people as you can. Not about views, not about butts and seats, but it is about getting the warning out to people and getting people to Jesus. Liking, sharing, and subscribing does help the people that are lost and have questions and ultimately need Jesus. And so if you guys can do me a solid and like, share, subscribe, that'll help reach them. Also follow me, Rumble, Odyssey, Telegram. Of course, we're simulcasting, multi-streaming to YouTube, Rumble, and the website. But if I get booted off YouTube, we'll be back up live streamed on Rumble. So make sure you guys follow me there. Odyssey is an emergency platform. There's nothing exclusive, nothing like that. I don't do any of that stuff, but it is an emergency platform in case something goes really bad with all the other ones. So if you have an account, you might as well follow me there. And then Telegram, we post updates, announcements, news, things, and anything in between. I just kind of post some stuff up there as things go, as things come, as things go. There's letting days go by, same as it ever was. Sorry. But yeah, as things come in, I'll just kind of post things, announcements, and stuff like that. Of course, there's the one-stop shop for all your questions and what's going on, which is the WretchedWatchmen.com website. That's your place to go. Again, I'll add that event page up right after the show. So if you want to know a little bit more about what's going on, I will have it there. And then Tuesday, John Prescott from Down Under will be joining me. It's going to be a good conversation. It's opposite angles to the same ending, something like that. It's my own title, and I can't even remember it. Either way, it's going to be good. So make sure you guys are here on Tuesday with John. Good stuff. And the last but not least, if you guys would like to support this channel and what I do, I've got donation links down below. CashApp, Venmo, and Give, Send, Go. Again, you guys are the ones that allow me to do this. My channel's not monetized. I don't make anything from ads, views, or anything like that. I want to make this just available to everybody just at all times and whatnot. So if you guys would like to support this channel and what I do, those links are below. Thank you guys for your support, your donations, your prayers, your encouragement, everything. Just truly, thank you. I'm so blessed to be able to do this. So, but that's it. I think that's it. This has been a long show. We got church tomorrow. So with that, get your heathenic booties to church tomorrow, whether online or in person, doesn't matter as long as it's the Bible believing, Christ following church. Just get there. And Lord willing, I'll see you Tuesday with John. Peace out. Maranatha.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.